Hi everyone, thanks for joining in. I'm happy to have Kylie Orr joining me today. Hi Kylie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And some of you might remember Kylie's been our author for the day before, so great to have you back for an interview.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And a little bit about Kylie. Working as a freelance writer for over 15 years, Kylie's articles have appeared in The Age, the Sydney Morning Herald, Nine Honey and Kid Spot, amongst other things. Her debut novel, Someone Else's Child, won the Dimmicks Fiona McIntosh Commercial Fiction Masterclass Scholarship and was longlisted in the Richell Prize and the Ms. Lexia International Novel Competition and commended in the Victorian Premier's Literary Awards. And I can see you've got your poster of your book there, and I've got my
Yeah.
copy
Oh,
here.
nice.
I
Yay.
have to say, I've been reading it, but I still have about 50 pages left to go.
Oh,
So,
wow.
really loving it, and
Close.
it's getting to the sticky end, I think,
I'll,
now.
I'll try not to give any spoilers then. Yeah.
So, Kylie loves to explore the darkest side of humanity, focusing on broader women's issues such as motherhood, inequality, and the challenges of society's expectations. So, thanks so much, Kylie, for joining us. Do you want to start off by telling us a little bit about Someone Else's Child?
Sure. And I should apologize because that bio is a massive mouthful, isn't it? There's lots in it. So Someone Else's Child, yes, I am surrounded by pink, which is quite funny because pink is one of my, probably the last colour I would choose.
Oh, really?
But it's a pretty cool, I've got my screen like backwards, so I'm trying
No,
to
it
do,
looks perfect from what
it's
I
hard
can
to,
see. Perfect.
yeah, so it's about 8-year-old Charlotte who has been diagnosed with an inoperable and incurable brain tumour, which sounds like a very dark topic matter, and it is, but the story is actually more about community banding together and fundraising for the family because they can get Charlotte on a clinical trial in Europe, but they need $100,000. So it's really the story of a friendship. Anna is Lottie's mum, and her best friend Ren. Ren is single and childless, and she will do anything to help that family. So it's told from Ren's point of view, and it's really just about loyalty of community, female friendships, motherhood, and I really wanted to delve into the ethics of fundraising, really, because how many times do we look at GoFundMe pages and think, oh, that poor family or oh, that poor child or whatever, and we donate, but we never actually know if the money goes to where they said it was going to go. And
Yeah,
so that's what I'm sort of
exactly.
exploring here.
And what was the first idea you had for this story?
It was, I live in a small community myself, so, and we do a lot of, fundraising for lots of things. And there was a local fundraiser, and the family didn't spend the money exactly where they said. And I was not bothered by it. I thought, if you've got a sick family member and they choose to go on holidays instead of whatever they said they were going to do, I don't mind. I feel like that's okay. But a lot of people were up in arms about that.
Yeah.
And it just made me wonder about the integrity of giving and what say do you have when you give your well-earned money and then it's not transparent about where the money's spent. So it was sort of about morals. And also I really wanted to explore female friendships. I think we have a different, commitment to each other, females. We just have this depth of, not that men don't have deep friendships, but I just think, female friendships are really important to me in my life. And so I just wanted to explore how far you can push a friendship, really.
And we've got quite a few people watching, so just wanted to say, those watching, if you've got any questions for Kylie, please type them in comments and I can read them out. We've looks like a few people have already read Someone Else's Child. Anne said your book was great. Belinda said she read the book last year and loved it. And
Thank you.
Sharon said she just picked it up from the library today and is looking
Hey.
forward to reading it. Belinda wonders if you're working on anything new at the moment.
I do. I have a second book. It was supposed to come out in July this year, but they've pushed it back a bit just because of the different spread of titles they've got. So it's coming out in May next year. And we're just playing around with titles at the moment, but the title I'm hoping they go with is called Lie Still, because I feel like nothing good happens when anyone tells you to lie still. And it's about a mother who has an 8-month-old baby who doesn't sleep, which may or may not be autobiographical. I have 4 children, and they were all absolutely horrid sleepers. And this mum kind of is living, I think, what lots of mums dream, and she just wants one night off in a hotel where she doesn't have to be responsible for anybody. And so she thinks she's just going to have a night in a hotel and order room service and have a bath. But instead she goes down to the bar and has a cocktail and then ends up in someone else's room, and she doesn't remember how she got there. And then she witnesses a crime. So that's the story of my second book.
Yeah, no, that sounds interesting. We'll be looking forward to that
That
one.
bit's not autobiographical, though. I didn't go to a hotel and have a cocktail at a bar and end up in a man's room.
And Yvonne said she loved someone else's child, explored some really challenging issues around illness, especially when it's a child, the push and pull of relationships, and all those ethical issues. It was superb, Yvonne said.
Thank you. That's a beautiful summary.
So I'd be interested to know, what sort of research did you do for someone else's child?
Yeah, look, my Google history is pretty dodgy, I have to say. I had to do a fair bit of cancer research, and obviously I am in no way medical, but I'm lucky because I have a sister-in-law who's a doctor, so I would send her lots of questions. I did a lot of research just into fundraising, and I read like the GoFundMe ethics pages, because they do have a whole lot of policy and criteria to that kind of thing. I studied different fundraising, and I was trying to see which ones tended to, garner more attention. But it was a very long process, this book. It took me 5 years to write, and from the first idea to getting it on a shelf was 7 years. So, over time, I've looked into many, many different parts of the book, but I can't give away too many of them because it'll give away the plot. So yeah. And how was your publishing journey? How hard or easy was it to get this published? Oh, look, I wish I could say it was easy and I just got snapped up the first time I pitched it, but no, that was not the case. It's a kind of weird and interesting story. So I had been writing articles for a parenting website, and I was home with young babies, and then somebody contacted me on LinkedIn and asked if I had any books in my bottom drawer that I was writing, because I had a good voice for women's fiction, and she was an editor from a major publishing house, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be my big break. I haven't even written a book, but she's already asking me. So I said, actually, I do have an idea for a book, and I told her this one, and she's like, send me the first 20,000 words. I didn't have 20,000 words, so I didn't know how to write a book. So I went and tried to write 20,000 words and sent it to her, and then she went on maternity leave. And anyway, she came back. She liked the idea, but she couldn't get it over the line. So I spent the next 4 years polishing, pitching, dealing with rejections, crying in the corner, smashing my head on the keyboard. But no, I'm very determined. So finally, I got it over the line. So it took a long time, but I'm very excited that I can say that's my book on the shelf.
Yeah. And Kim wonders where you got your inspiration for your new book from.
Look, I think, sleep was a major issue for me with my kids. I just didn't understand these people that had babies and they just put their baby in the cot and the baby went to sleep. And we didn't have, we thought, okay, we got unlucky with the first baby. And then the second baby, we're like, what's going on? Do we just make babies who don't sleep? And we tried everything. We tried controlled crying and sleep school. And by the time I got to the fourth, I was like, these are the babies we make. We make babies who don't sleep.
You still kept having more, though.
We kept trying. I was obviously really optimistic that I was going to get one that slept. Anyway, they were terrible. They sleep now, thank God, and I have to wake them up because they're teenagers. So I was kind of just thinking, I did have a friend who would go away once a year on like a meditation retreat, and I just found that so weird. I was like, surely if you're going to have a weekend off, you'd go away with your girlfriends and drink too much bubbly or whatever. But she did it as a way to decompress. And so then I started to think, wow, maybe that's what mums need. They just need a night off where they are not responsible for anybody but themselves. And so that was sort of the crumb, but obviously that's not a story. That's just hopeful thinking.
Yeah.
And then you've got to make bad stuff happen. Otherwise people won't turn the pages. So I have really, really punished this next character in my next book, and I feel a bit bad about it. But anyway, it's okay. It ends okay.
And Anne said it took her 3 times before she got a sleeper.
Oh, good to hear, Anne. I don't like those people who say, oh, my baby slept through the night from 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I think it's luck, surely, some of it.
Yeah, I think so. Anne also wonders if you still write articles for different newspapers.
I haven't been because I've been busy editing the second book, but I think I might get back into that this year. I think I quite like that challenge of just 800 words as opposed to 90,000 words. Yeah, but I'm very opinionated. I have a lot of opinions, so I'm sure I can get some opinion pieces out there. Whether people will like the opinions is another idea.
And Kelly wonders where you would go for your own mummy escape.
Oh, I mean, obviously when your babies are little and you're breastfeeding and stuff and you've got to leave milk behind and can't go very far. But now, I don't know. I actually burn really badly. I've got very fair skin, so I probably wouldn't go to like a tropical island or anything.
Yeah.
I'd better go to New York. I just pop over to New York from Melbourne. Not that far,
nice.
is it?
No, it sounds nice. And Kim wonders if there's anything you would do differently with your experience from the experience you've gained now.
Writing, you mean?
Yeah.
The publishing journey. I think I would try to temper my expectations. I'm not very good at realistic expectations. So I kind of expected that the book would be an instant bestseller and that I would have like Nicole Kidman ringing me to ask if she could make it into a movie. And that Nicole has not called. So I probably might just go in at maybe a lower expectation level. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a massive learning curve. And I think the thing is that you just dream of having a published book and you think, finally, I've got it over the line. But then it's a whole new journey once you're over the line. Then you've got to learn the industry and understand, I've made lots of mistakes along the way. And, so I think it's, I wouldn't change anything because I wouldn't have learnt. There's no other way to do it. So, yeah.
And growing up as being a writer, something you always thought you would do?
I mean, my mum says I always told stories, so I think that's her way of saying that I was a bit dramatic. But, I always loved writing, but I just didn't think it was a job. I didn't think it was a viable option to be an author. So I had looked at journalism for a while, and then I did an arts degree at uni, which most people think is a waste of time. And then I went into many different career paths, but actually all of that contributes to the stories and the characters that you develop. I worked in HR for a while, and lots of characters come through HR, let me tell you.
I work in HR, so...
Oh, do you?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about then, don't you? You're writing little notes as we speak about characters who are going to end up in a future novel.
Anne wonders if at any time you did do the Fiona McIntosh masterclass.
If I did it?
Yeah, if you did it.
Yeah, I did it in 2017. It was amazing. It was amazing, and I got it on scholarship, so I was very, very lucky. Yes, and she's a taskmaster, but she really is an inspiring speaker, and she kind of she just gives you tough love, basically. Like, if you want to make it work in this industry, you have to deal with the fact that you're going to get rejected, and you have to overcome your fear of pitching your novel to people. And I think it's a really worthwhile course.
And Anne wonders if your next book is under the same publishing company.
Yeah, so it's HQ Fiction, which is HarperCollins. I got a 2-book deal. I was very lucky.
Yeah, that's good.
So yes, it's coming out in May next year. Same publisher. And then I do have an idea for a 3rd book, but that's not under contract or anything, and I haven't started writing that yet. So.
And
hopefully Nicole will come out of the shadows.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kieran wonders what you like to read, if you read in the same genre you write, and I wonder if maybe there's something you've read lately you'd like to recommend to us.
I can indeed. I do. I generally read in the same genre that I write, but sometimes when I'm writing, if I'm reading something that's really amazing, I get a little bit discouraged. So then I'm like, oh, I'm never going to be able to write as good as this person. So sometimes I'll go to a completely different genre.
Yeah.
I do dabble a little bit. Like sometimes I read YA and also, you know, my kids read, so I want to recommend books to them. So the last 3 books I've read, have you seen this one?
No, I haven't seen that one at all.
So I think Denise Picton, I think you interviewed her, The Family String.
Yes,
that was
a good
one.
book.
I've just finished
so this is a new one.
Yeah, she does characters really well. And this is 4 generations of women, great characters. So I read that. And I read this one, which is going gangbusters, The House of Now and Then.
Yeah.
Have you read that one?
I haven't read it, but I have heard about that one, yeah.
That's great. And I think you just had Kate on last night.
Yeah.
This was a really good,
as
cute story. Yeah, I really liked this as well. So, and she's such a bubbly, enthusiastic person as well, Kate. So yeah, they were the 3 that I've read recently that I really liked.
Yeah, thanks for those recommendations.
No worries.
Kelly wonders if you prefer writing articles or books.
That's a hard one to answer. A book you can really sink your teeth into, but it's a massive project. Whereas an article, I can usually spit them out in a day. So, or a couple. If I'm really passionate about the topic and I don't have to do too much research, I can, you know, write them pretty quickly. So, for instant gratification, perhaps feature articles are good like that. But for sinking your teeth into topics that you really care about, then I think books. But yes, it takes a year or more to write. So yeah.
And Jodie wonders what your favourite part of the writing process is.
I like just starting with an idea. I think then you let the characters take you wherever you go. Sometimes I get a bit, you know, disheartened in the middle when I don't know where the story is going. And I actually do strangely really like the editing process because I know that that's going to make the book better.
Yeah.
So I'm not frightened of cutting things out. I don't get really attached. I mean, some things I will fight for in the editing process, but mostly I just know that we're all working towards trying to make it a cleaner book. So I quite like the different parts of your brain, the different stages used. Obviously, coming up with a new idea is very creative and seeing where it goes, but then the editing is much more sort of executive function, organising the book in a better way. And I like it all.
Yeah. And with someone else's child, did you know the ending before you started?
Look, I knew it was going to go to probably dark places. I probably didn't think it was going. It's hard to say without giving it away. But I knew that there was going to be some secrets that came out that people, you know, maybe weren't expecting.
And do you have a favourite place to do your writing?
This is my little writing nook. It's actually just off my bedroom. So my husband works from home. He works in IT and we used to share an office, and I could not stand listening to him. He crunches sourdough toast so loudly. And I used to kind of say, I'm trying to write a bestseller here. Can you keep it down? So he eventually built me this little nook, which I love. It's so quiet. I have a really nice view where we live in the hills, and but it's actually a little bit small once you have a manuscript that you've got, you know, spread out and you're trying to edit. But look, it works for me for now until I'm a multi-millionaire author and I have my own little like I don't know, cabin in the forest or something where no one can bother me.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
And what do you hope readers will love about your book?
I hope they love Ren. How are you finding Ren?
Yeah,
Jackie?
yeah, I like Ren.
I think Ren kind of divides the room. I wasn't expecting that about Ren. I love Ren. I feel like Ren is the person who sees good in everyone, and that
Yeah,
makes her a bit naive. But I think some readers have been frustrated by Ren, but I truly believe we all know a Ren in our lives who just
yeah.
does not want to
I
see.
loved her loyalty, but also, like you said, I did sort of feel that she was a bit naive as well.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I did like her as a character.
Yeah, yeah. She probably was a bit. I mean, I did deliberately write it so the reader would sort of cotton on before Ren did, and the reason I did that is because I feel like that does happen in life. When you're in the middle of a circumstance you can't see out, and other people from the outside are looking in, saying, "How did you not know
Yeah,
that? How did you not see this
yeah,
coming?" But I think it happens quite often. So that's why I wanted to write Ren like that.
yeah.
So I hope people like Ren, and I hope they aren't too frustrated by her.
And Anne wonders if you're a planner or a pantser.
Look, I was a pantser for that first book, and it took me so long to edit it. It was a massive mess to edit because I didn't have my timeline sorted and didn't have my seasons, you know. So for the second book, I tried to plan it a little bit better, but I'm not a huge planner because I don't like to, I don't know, be corralled into I don't know where the plot's going most of the time. So I want to just let the characters take me. Sometimes they meander in places, and that makes it, you know, a long editing process when I've got to bring them back. But I kind of like that process better than planning. But strangely, in life, I am very organised because I have 4 kids and I have to be.
Yeah, you have to.
But in my writing, I am not as, I don't plan things out as much.
And someone else's child is set like in a small town somewhere. Did you have a town in mind when you were setting that, or?
It is a fictional town, and I live in Melbourne, Victoria. And for some strange reason, I set it in New South Wales. I don't know why. I think it was when I started writing, it was cold in Melbourne, and I just thought, nah, it needs to be somewhere warmer. So I just kind of set it north of me. So it's sort of northern New South Wales, but it's a fictional town. It's just like most country towns that people can relate to, really.
Yeah, yeah. And Yvonne said she loved Ren. She thought she was a really realistic character.
Oh, thank you, Yvonne. You're like my personal cheerleader. I'll have to get her like a special T-shirt made or something.
And I'm wondering about the characters' names. Where did you get the names from?
So Ren was I originally called her Laura. I don't know why. And then my sister was telling me about someone at their local sports club who had 3 older brothers, and they were all kind of very Aussie solid names. I can't remember, but say like Bruce, Gavin, and something else. And then the daughter's name was Serenity.
Okay.
And so I was like, that's a cool name. I think I might change and then I could sort of factor in Ren's mum as being kind of a hippie gypsy woman, and she loved, So, and it sort of doesn't really fit the image of Ren, does it? Like she's got this kind of, bohemian name, but she's not bohemian at all. So I just liked that kind of contrast.
Yeah. And do you find that like the characters stick with you after you've finished writing?
Yeah, for sure. Until I write the next book. And then actually when this book came out, I was editing the second book.
My puppies are making lots of noise.
Very cute. I had to go back and reread Someone Else's Child just before it was released because my head was in the space of the second book. I was so in those characters, I needed to get back out and reacquaint myself with the characters in Someone Else's Child. So I am very involved in whatever I'm writing and those characters at the time. So
Yeah, and Kim's got an interesting question. She wonders how you decide the personalities of each character.
I don't know if it's like a conscious decision or if it's just how they take it. I always knew Anna would be very like gung-ho and focused, and I knew Ren would be more sort of big-hearted country. And I think Ren is an amalgamation of quite a few people I know. So it's sort of like I can hear their voices in my head. It's not like I modeled her off one person. It's just an amalgamation. So yeah, it just kind of happens in the writing process. And I guess then you're trying to, like I remember one of the editing notes was an editor said something about, I think they brought in 2 hot drinks because Ren only drinks hot chocolate. She doesn't drink coffee or tea. And of course, Anna drinks, double shot macchiatos or whatever. And the editor said that this is a great opportunity here to show more of Anna's character. So we gave her like a monogrammed coffee mug, and then got her to pour it in a double-walled glass cup when she came back to the office. And just little bits and pieces like that are ways to just heighten the personality of the person and show the reader, this is who they are through actions.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for chatting with me. It's been great talking to you, and I'm sure I'll finish reading your book tonight. So
great.
Looking forward
Thanks
to
so
that.
much for having me and all those great questions. That was awesome.
Yeah, and thanks for the people who joined in. We had lots of great questions.
Awesome. Thanks
Hope
so much,
I get
everyone.
a chance to talk to you again when you have a new book out.
Yes, me too. Thank you for having me.
Thank
and
you.
if you're very frustrated by the ending, don't send me a message. Don't send me hate mail.
I'll let you know. All
I'm
right.
going to go and watch Married at First Sight now, which is like the way I turn my brain off because it's so bad. There's your puppy.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Thanks.
All right.
Bye,
Thanks.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.